Clay Travis, Buck Sexton show. We head up to Capitol Hill to be joined by our good buddy, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. Lots to get into with him on a variety of different subjects, but let's start off right off the top here. Big, beautiful bill making its way through the House and the Senate. Maybe some challenges along the way.
Yeah.
What should the audience out there know about where this is and where it's headed?
Yeah. I mean, I think in the end, good to be with you guys. I think in the end we get there because I've always thought this, one sort of overriding fact is we're the party that says we don't raise taxes. And if we don't get this passed, taxes go up on the families we get the representing. And just one of the hallmark, basic fundamental principles of the Republican Party is we think moms and dads should keep more of their money to spend on their goals, their dreams, their kids, their objectives in their communities. We think businesses should keep more of their money to plow back into their business to expand and grow and help our economy, which ultimately leads to more revenue coming into the Treasury. So we're for lower taxes. So I think in the end we get there. We had a little setback here a few minutes ago in the Budget Committee, but we'll keep working, and I think we get this bill done.
What's the most beautiful thing in the big, beautiful bill, or the most beautiful things? If you're just giving us some top lines, Congressman, so we know what's in there, because let's be honest, very few people out there are going to read the entirety of the bill, but if it gets through, what should we be excited about?
Two things. One, that it just what I talked about. There'll be tax cuts for American families and business, R&D, expansion, all the things that help juice our
Not to
economy
interrupt
and grow
you,
our economy.
new tax cuts, not just like making old tax cuts that Trump had permanent. Is that right?
Both of those will happen.
Both.
So I think that is huge. Second, work requirements. If you're able-bodied, one of the things you guys all know this. Y'all had jobs. I mean, I remember my brother and I. We mowed country lawns. You learn to work. You learn the satisfaction of a job well done. You learn to interact with customers. You need to keep a schedule. It's all important things. And if you don't have people work who are able-bodied and they just live off the taxpayer, that is not good for taxpayers. It's not good for our economy. Most importantly, it's not good for the people who get robbed of learning what we all learned with those first jobs. So that the work requirement elements that we have in there for people receiving public assistance. And then finally, this came directly from our committee, the resources we have sent to the administration to make sure our border stays secure. It's already secure. What President Trump and his team have done, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Christie, what they've done is amazing. But we want to make sure they have the resources. That came from our committee. So I think those are sort of the three big things that I think are just key principles and things we talked about in the campaign that are in this bill.
You had a big revelation about the potential, it appears, attempt to keep news about the COVID shot and the progress that was being made from being released right before the election, because theoretically it would have been beneficial to Trump. And I've always found it, I know many people out there did as well, super suspicious that within, a week or 10 days after the election, we suddenly found out that there had been very good progress being made on the COVID shot.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not getting into the efficacy of the COVID shot
Right.
going forward, but in October of 2020, if there had been an expectation of a COVID vaccine, I think Trump would have won. I don't think it would have been close. What happened?
Yeah.
What have you uncovered?
Yeah, no, Clay, I agree with you. Whatever you think about the vaccine, I personally didn't get it, but it's still, you got to go back to the context then. And it wasn't a week after; it was a day after. The election was November 3rd, November 7th. Joe Biden's declared winner. November 8th, they go Shazam! The results are great. It's like, well, you couldn't tell us that when you knew. Yeah, so this guy he goes to a subsequent pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline, and he tells them after this past presidential election, when President Trump wins. He says, I'd like to get transferred to Canada, and because it's no coincidence on the timing of the results back in 2020. Well, you don't ask to leave the country if you didn't do something wrong. So we sent a letter to this doctor. We want to depose him, and then we sent a letter to Pfizer where he worked when they were developing this vaccine and doing the test. That he said that they slowed down their results getting to the public. And again, remember the context. You couple that with all the mail-in ballots, with the 51 former Intel officials who worked with the Biden campaign who put out that stupid letter that was false, saying the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian information operation. All that, Trump wins if they don't do all that stuff. We understand that. So, those kind of things just aren't supposed to happen. So we're gonna dig into this and find out what really took place.
Congressman Jordan, I know you only have a minute before you got to run. I just wanted to get your reaction to what is kind of an unexpected but still major news story of the day, which is you've dealt with Comey in the past. You're familiar with this fellow.
Yeah.
What the heck is he thinking sharing this 8647 seashells thing? Like, does this surprise you at all? Or do you think that this guy, have you always known he was such a weirdo?
I mean, I guess we're all surprised. I mean, what are you doing this for? And then I was surprised he said, well, I think he said that, like, it was just on the beach, and I took a picture of it. Yeah, come on, he probably arranged this thing. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So, but then you think about it, Comey, I probably deposed, I said this earlier to someone today, I probably sat in more depositions, more transcribed interviews than just about any member of Congress over the last 15 years. And certain people, when they're in a deposition, their attitude, just their arrogance, you just see it. It's like Comey was almost like, how dare some country hillbilly from Western Ohio ask me, Jim Comey, questions in a It's like he was like Clapper and Brennan, frankly, when certain people. So I just think he wants attention. It was stupid. It was wrong. And God bless Kristi Noem and the Secret Service for investigating the whole thing.
One last question here is, I know you're busy and we appreciate you coming on today. All of the revelations that are coming out about Joe Biden, and suddenly Democrats are saying, how could we have possibly known? And Democrat media like Jake Tapper is saying, boy, were we ever snookered here. We had no idea this was going on. Why would it not make sense, and you can tell me if I'm crazy on this, given the fact that Democrats had primetime hearings on Jan 6th, and that may have been beneficial and impactful for them in the midterms because enough people paid attention and were willing to buy the story that they were telling. Why would it not be beneficial to bring all these Biden aides in, put them under oath, question them about what they actually saw, and hold Democrats responsible for the question that I think you probably still have too? Who the heck's been running the country for the past few years, given that Biden didn't have the mental or physical capability?
Yeah. Well, we know who was running it. We know who was running it in foreign policy. It was the whole darn team that Clinton and Obama had, Jake Sullivan, Wendy Sherman, Bill Burns, Tony Blinken. But we never really kind of knew who was running domestic politics. Who was really making the calls over there? But, yeah, you're right. Jake Tapper lied to us for 4 years, and now he writes a book and is making money telling us the truth. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So I do think that makes sense, but I think step one in this process is getting the Hur tapes, and this is why we were after him for the last year and a half. Whenever Robert Hur testified and conveyed to us just he wasn't going to prosecute, but just how bad that interview was. He told us it, but we'd actually like to have the audio tapes, which we know exist, and the Justice Department refused to give to us. We think we're going to get those public here soon. I think that's step one, and we'll see how they play out. But if it's anything like the transcript, I think it's going to be pretty good, or pretty interesting, I should say. And then we can go to some of these people after that. But I think that's sort of step one in any investigation that we do.
Good
Congressman
stuff.
Jordan, appreciate you, sir.
You bet. Thanks for all you guys do. Take care.
Well, there we have it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate him making the time because I think, as always, super impactful to hear from him. And, there's going to be a lot of talk about what exactly is taking place on that bill. But I feel pretty good, and I'm sure
you see
do
the
too,
breaking
Buck.
news? Breaking news from the Wall Street Journal. Big, beautiful bill stalled after being blocked by conservative House Republicans.
But I feel a little bit like this. With this, like I do about the what do they
debt
always
shutdown
have?
or the debt limit
Government
fight?
shutdowns, debt ceilings. I would be stunned beyond belief if this doesn't end up getting passed at some point in the near future.
Are you suggesting, Clay, that in the Congress sometimes there is pointless grandstanding by members who have no intention of changing anything but want a little attention?
I would maybe possibly be suggesting that is almost exactly what's going to happen here, and eventually it's going to pass. So I would be stunned if that isn't the ultimate reaction before all is said and done.
All right, we'll take some of your calls here. It is Friday. I'd love to hear from you. 800-282-2882. Also, talkbacks. So much fun on those talkbacks. Go to the iHeartRadio app, which you should all have downloaded. It is free. It is fantastic. And go to the Clay and Buck page, press that microphone, send us your talkbacks. Years ago, I started investing in gold as part of my savings plan. As it turns out, the gold that I purchased over a decade ago has gone up 160% in value. I mean, you can just look at a chart. You can go online and check it out for yourself. Look at what gold has done over the last 10 years, over the last 20 years. Purchasing gold today has become easier than ever thanks to partners like Birch Gold Group. And it's important, given the external factors out there that we can't control, like inflation and government spending, that you take action now for the long term. Gold is the long term hold. In fact, historically, if you look at it, you could argue it's the ultimate long term hold because gold is the store of value, not just in our economy, but really for all of human history. And one of the best ways to protect your savings is through diversification. And I diversify. Yeah, I've got money in bank accounts, but I've got gold from Birch Gold Group too. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. And central banks, who tend to know where a lot of this stuff is going, they're buying gold in record quantities. And that's why demand doesn't seem to be subsiding these days. You can easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax sheltered IRA in physical gold or buy some to store in your home safe. I've got that set up. Text my name Buck to 989898 and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation. You're just going to find that you're educating yourself about holding gold. Look, gold is something that we've been talking about here on radio for a while, and I've been an investor in gold for a long time, and it's just been a winner. Join me now. Become an investor in gold and hold gold for the long term. Text my name Buck to 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/buck. That's text my name, B-U-C-K, Buck, to 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/buck.